Maybe problem number 4. Sine of x times cosine xy plus xyy equals 5x. And the goal is to find y prime. So I don't know about you, but I can't explicitly solve that for y. I don't know, because you got y trapped inside cosine, then you got y squared here, and I don't know. That's fine, though. We can find y prime without explicitly solving for y. You know, one thing, though, to clean this up, you might as well write y times y as y squared. So I'm going to do that to start. You don't have to. So how many terms do we have? How many terms? We have 3 terms. Good answer. We have 3 terms. So we just have to do the derivative of each term with respect to x. So it's, I don't know, kind of nice. 5x just turns into 5. So we want to do the derivative of, we got sine x times cosine of xy plus the derivative of xy squared with respect to x. I'm going to do this one next because I think it's easier than the other one. So that yellow thing, and I'm seeing some of you do it on your papers now, you're like breaking these apart into smaller problems, which I think will help. So I see a product rule. So I'll go x times the derivative of y squared with respect to x plus the derivative of x times y squared. That thing there, how much is that? That's 1. Okay, so this is just y squared. This thing here, that's your 2y prime. So you got x times 2y prime plus y squared. So you could substitute this yellow piece for the previous yellow piece. We're going to eventually go back and do that. Now our goal right now is this green piece. So we can do some work there. I see a product rule. So I'll go sine x times the derivative of cosine xy plus the derivative of sine x times cosine xy. So, you've got to find that green piece. Well, right now that green piece involves finding the derivative of, so the green piece, you got to find these 2 blue ones, and then you're fine. One of those blue ones isn't bad. It's the derivative of sine x. Cosine x. So that's not so bad. So you got cosine x, cosine xy. The other one isn't terrible. It is kind of terrible. You have an outer and an inner. The outer is cosine x. The derivative of cosine is, so you got negative sine xy. Well, then you got the inner. That's x times y. Oh, boy. So the derivative of x times y, well, that's x times the derivative of y plus, Rachel's falling asleep, derivative of x with respect to x times y. So I did the derivative of x times y, and I wrote it out like this. Okay, we're almost there. How much is this? That's 1. Okay, and then what do we call this?
2y. Oh, never mind. I was thinking of a different one.
So what do we call it?
Y prime.
Y prime. Okay. So you got negative sine of xy times xy prime plus y. Okay. So now I gotta put it together here. So let's see, I got sine x times negative sine xy times xy prime plus y plus this stuff. Cosine x, cosine xy. And what's that equal? 5?
Well, no, wait, don't you have to add the y squared plus x times 2?
Oh, yeah.
That was the really tall.
All right, so we almost forgot. We did all that work to find the derivative of the green. So I kind of lost where I was. So that green box that you see right here, all of this work was for that green box. And then we expanded this, and we said, well, ultimately it's this stuff. Is that right? Okay. So when I go back here, Rachel caught my mistake. She is awake. This here is this. You're going to have to go substitute that back in. Oops. And then the yellow piece we've already found, right? The yellow piece is right here. So we're going to take a sec, clean this up, substitute everything in. So it's green plus the yellow equals 5. So I think I can do that. So I got sine x times negative sine xy, xy prime plus y, plus cosine x, cosine xy, so green plus the yellow. So that's my x, 2y prime. Plus y squared, and that equals 5. This one's kind of tricky. They're usually not so bad here. I mean, once you do all the derivatives, gathering everything with y prime isn't so bad, but here you still have some work to do, and the work goes into this piece. Okay, you're going to have to distribute this in here. Then once you do that, you're going to want to distribute this into those two new terms. So you got sine x. So this will be negative sine xy times xy prime plus negative sine xy times y plus cosine x cosine xy plus 2xy y prime plus y squared equals 5. Oh goodness, this has got to get distributed in now. Then you're going to have all the terms visible, and you're going to gather everything with y prime and start moving stuff around. So don't throw stuff at me. So negative sine x sine xy xy prime plus negative sine x sine xy y.
Can you do the problems before the test so we don't have to do a problem?
Oh, I knew this was going to be absolutely nasty. I'm just getting you ready. How many terms do you see?
What?
6 terms. How many have y prime?
1, 2,
Is that it?
1.
Just those 2? Okay. So those 2 should stay on the left. The other 3 that are on the left need to go to the right. Then you'll factor out your y prime, and you'll divide off what's there, and yay, you'll have it.
Wait, so then you just subtract the y primes on the right
I'd keep the y primes on the left,
or on the left?
and then move the others to the right.
Take y prime out, then divide
then you divide.
Okay, so we're almost there. I'm once again out of space. Sorry for not being more organized on this one. We'll go to the next page. We talked about moving terms around. So we got three of them that are going to the right side. I mean, so whenever you move a term, right, if it's positive and you move it to the other side, it'll be negative. If it's negative and you move it over, it'll be positive. So, see, I got a negative sine x, sine of xy, xy prime plus 2x 2x y prime equals 5. Let's see, when this one came over, it'll become positive, so 5 plus sine x, sine of xy, y. This one moved over, it'll be a minus. Cosine x, cosine xy. And the y squared moved over, that'll be a minus y squared. So on the left, you factor out the y prime because it's present in both terms. So let's make that easier. Copy paste the right side. Sort of. 5 plus sine. Okay. So I factored out the y prime. It's present, right? It's sitting here in the first term, here in the second term. So negative sine x, sine of xy times x plus 2xy. Good deal. Thank you. And then I'm going to divide that quantity off. So I'll get y prime equals that. Sort of. I got to put on the 5 again. 5 plus all that divided by what's in parentheses here. So negative sine x sine xy times x plus 2xy. We did it. The ugliest, nastiest implicit differentiation problem. We conquered it. So I think that was problem 4 from that practice set that I gave you. So 5 and 6 are logarithmic differentiation. They're not going to be nearly as bad. So 5, you're sitting with y is explicitly solved for. So right away that says, hey, not implicit differentiation. And you've got 6x minus 4x squared. That's a function. And you're actually going to raise that to a function. I need to find y prime. I've got a function raised to a function. That's logarithmic differentiation. So the natural log of both sides is what happens first. Natural log. So no calculus. It's just procedural. I take the natural log of both sides. 6x minus 4x squared to the cosine of 5x. Properties of logarithms. It's kind of nice. One of the properties we regularly use. We get to move that thing out front. So that turns into cosine 5x times natural log of 6x minus 4x squared. Natural log of y. Okay, so all we got to do is take the derivative of both sides now, and then isolate y prime, and then all that good stuff. So we're taking the derivative with respect to x. Okay, so the left side is 1 over y, that's the outer function, times the derivative of the inner. The inner function is y. Equals k, that's product rule, 2 pieces, right? So you go cosine 5x times the derivative of the natural log of 6x minus 4x squared, that's half the product rule, plus the derivative of cosine 5x times the natural log of 6x minus 4x squared. Okay, so I got a couple derivatives to find. It's not a huge deal. The left side is 1 over y prime. I got a cosine 5x. The derivative of the natural log, that's going to be 1 over what you got, so 6x minus 4x squared, times the derivative of the inner. That's 6 minus 8x. Plus, okay, derivative of cosine 5x is, you got two functions, outer, inner, so negative sine 5x times 5 times the natural log of 6x minus 4x squared. So now I got to simplify it a little. I mean, I'm not too stressed about simplifying, but you know, you might as well write that as a single fraction. And then you'll multiply both sides by y to get rid of the 1 over y. So y prime equals the right-hand side multiplied by y. So that's my cosine 5x times, let's see, 6 minus 8x over 6x minus 4x squared plus negative sine 5x times 5 times the natural log of 6x minus 4x squared. Okay, and your last step, you know, like, you got y prime, right? And y is on the other side. Now, when you do implicit differentiation, you end up with y prime equals, and you end up with x's and y's over there. And well, here's an instance where you have y prime, and on the right-hand side you have x's and y's. So how do I know when is it okay to just like leave x's and y's in there, and when is it not? Well, here I tell you, you actually you know what y is in terms of x. Okay, go back to the start. Look, you have this right here. So since you have that so readily available, it's right there, no computations are necessary, I want you to substitute that back in. So plug in for y 6x minus 4x squared, that quantity, to the cosine 5x. So final answer, y prime equals, well, sort of this. Almost there. Okay, so instead of y, I'm going to put in 6x, what was that, minus 4x squared, raised to the cosine 5x. Okay, that's it. So that was, what, that was number 5? That's your answer there? So now we go ahead and we do number 6. Get function to a function, and you're asked to find y prime. So y equals 19x plus e to the x to the 5x squared. Natural log both sides. So y, and you get 19x plus e to the x to the 5x squared. So then properties of logarithms, you're going to move that exponent out front. Okay, now you got to find the derivative of both sides. 1 over y prime. We got some product rule. So 5x squared times 1 over 19x plus e to the x times So the derivative of 19x is 19. Derivative of e to the x is e to the x. So that's half of the product rule. So plus 10x, and then multiply by what you got there. So natural log 19x plus e to the x. Like 2 minutes, I'll be done. So then all you gotta do is multiply both sides by y. Right? So you got y prime equals the right hand side multiplied by y. And your last step will be to take out y and plug back in your original. So that's sitting here. So we're gonna need that down here. Okay. So we're sitting here. Okay. So now I just gotta fill everything in and we'll be there. So this I might as well write as, well, I guess this whole thing. Consider all these fractions. So you get 5x squared times quantity 19 plus e to the x over 19x plus e to the x plus 10x times the natural log of 19x plus e to the x. And that is it. There's your y prime. So a little logarithmic differentiation.